So, Jim and Mark, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think this is great because we have two phenomenal gentlemen and we can touch upon things that are happening in the real estate industry. Specifically, we talk about building, and we get a lot of questions, of course, coming into the show. So we've got a great insight from a builder perspective. And I know, Mark, as you say, you assemble homes.
Yep.
And I think, Jim, you're probably going to say you build homes.
Correct.
All right. So we got an assembler and a builder. So let's talk shop. Are you ready?
Oh, we're so ready.
All right.
Are you?
I'm so ready. I love the fact that you guys are here. Finally. I'm just going to throw that out there. Yeah. Finally. This has taken a while.
Got us in one room.
Worth the wait for sure. And I know we don't have to worry about you two telling it like it is. Yeah. I think we got that covered. So here we go. I want to touch upon the typical standing, building envelope and how we're getting incredibly what we called sealed tight. I mean, it's almost to the point where they don't breathe anymore. Once upon a time, they used to breathe. They don't breathe anymore. So we're bringing in wonderful systems like HVAC systems to help, move the air around. It has to flow. It has to breathe. One of the big components that happens, as we all know, though, is mold. And I am one of those people that I can sense it. I can feel it. And I think a lot of our sickness going on out there is because of our homes making us sick. So, Jim, I'd like you to touch upon that. As a builder, what do you see and how can we cure this?
You know what? I don't know if we're ever going to cure it. I
Yeah.
mean, we're always trying to, new things are coming available. I just like, when this usually comes up, I always look back at what I grew up in.
Right.
And this old, house that was built in whatever the 40s, it had no insulation, nothing at all, and we never had mold.
Never.
There was, you couldn't trap the moisture because the air was flying through the house so much.
So not very energy efficient.
No.
But certainly it breathed.
It definitely, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So what about you, Mark?
Well, I think that there's a lot of myth and realities out there. To Jim's point is that used to be that a lot of the farmhouses were made out of stone and there was only one material and was not entrapped. Then we came out with wood and there were so many different ways that people wanted to start to insulate it. Unfortunately, a lot of the products out there are really good when you take them one by one. It's when you combine them that it becomes some sort of a horror movie.
And when we add the 4 seasons to the equation, of course, when
we
we're
put
talking,
this Nordic climate
Yes.
with the change of weather,
Yeah,
and
warm,
the
cold,
change
condensation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and here again, to the analogy of the human species, a house should breathe, as the human species does breathe. But until they come up with some noses and mouths around houses, we have to give it an HVAC system to make sure that the air circulation is all that. And then again, the best air circulation system that was ever designed was families. Back then you had 12 kids that were coming in and out of a house. That was air circulation.
revolving
That was
door.
natural,
Doors, right?
Yeah. And they left the doors open. If you had a couple of teenagers, you were safe.
It's funny, but it's true.
It is
true.
true.
Again, we slept with all the doors open.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford air conditioning.
Yeah.
And I don't think air conditioning was even around in that time, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, the windows were open, everything was open. But it's funny that you say that. Like all these things work great on their own, but the problem is they all have to get together and put it together and see how it works, and then fine tune it. You got the house wrap, then you got the caulking, you got the, the spray foams, and then you got the vapor barriers and everything else. I mean, sure, that's all great. And it's like Mark said, you put it all together, that's something, there's no synergy. It doesn't work.
And part of that is because they've put one other variable in the equation, and that's the human.
We just mess it all up.
If we could just build houses without the human factor, I mean, things would be so perfect.
Yeah.
But then again, the humans are very creative. So everybody has their own way in putting it up. And they all know better than to read instructions. And here again, everybody wants to do good. Everybody, I strongly believe that 99.9% of trades out there get up in the morning and they want to do good. The dilemma is that we don't have the right materials and the right processes to make it happen. And that's where new technologies are starting to come up to basically
All right. So when we're
be a
talking wood
solution.
construction, of course, we know that it just will soak in water. I mean, it's just a natural byproduct of it. It does. And when we're talking steel, we don't have the same issues with steel construction with the mold component.
Well, you got to look at wood. I mean, I look at wood as still as a living, breathing,
Yeah.
right?
Agreed,
You can cut it, dry it out, but once it dries out, it moves, shrinks. Once it takes on moisture, it swells up again. So
Expands.
it's always moving in your house, regardless of how old the house
Just
is.
from hot and cold.
Right. I mean, just look at the last 2 winters we had.
Yeah.
I mean, my house, it's 7 years old. I never had a crack for 7 years. And last winter with the extreme cold and this winter, things are starting to open up.
Right.
So again, you got steel, which, we talked about earlier, doesn't move. It's true. It's straight.
Tried and true.
Yeah.
That's the
good point.
property of that material.
But there is always, again, a benefit to being able to have an option. And that's what's nice about here. I love ingenuity and the fact that your company is Canadian. I love even more bone structure. But people need to have choices. They need to have options. It's great to see that more options are coming forward. This is a great thing that we're talking about this.
Yeah.
One of the other things I want to bring forward, gentlemen, is the fact of waste. And green building. I mean, that's the buzzword, green. I know. I can see Jim going, oh, green.
Yeah, he's turning
Can you
green
put-
right now. You
can
can't
put
see this on the
green and
camera,
building
but
in the same sentence. But we are making headway.
We are,
This
yeah.
is something that we realize it's our planet, and we want to make sure that it's here for a really long time, and our kids and their kids get to truly benefit from having a great air to breathe and a wonderful place to live. So are we doing our part? Are we doing enough, Jim, to make sure that we're offering options to the public and people that are in the building industry?
Well, I think now we're offering more and more. I mean, years ago, it was offered, but nobody really understood it.
And it was really expensive.
And then the price tag came, and the homeowners will say, Jim, can we, we want to go green, we want to do this, this, and this. I said, okay, great. I'm going to price it out. Can almost guarantee it that the green thing is going to get shoved to the side because you do not
They're
have the
so
money.
going to get those granite
Right.
countertops instead.
Right, exactly, right? And that's what happened. And I mean, it's still, I think it's coming in to range now. I mean, the prices are coming down. It's, it's getting easier to work with. But again, I think now with what Mark is doing with the bone structure, I think that's the whole package now. Yes, it's a little more, expensive to buy, but I think when they're buying a structure like that, you're also thinking ahead and what the value of the property is going to be, or the value of the home's going to be down the road.
Great point.
And that's something that I would look, I look at what it's going to be worth down the road. And, sure, you're going to have to pay a bit more now.
And the cost of usage. You know what?
Yeah.
There's a thing about green, and that's why I like to think there's a lot of green washing. People go and they hear things, and it's this is green and this is green. What are you really looking for when you're asking for green? At the end of the day, where is the cost of usage, the energy cost? And it's hitting Canada. I know we're in a slump right now in terms of oil, but trust me, that won't last for long. And so the cost of usage in terms of energy for cooling and heating is basically 60% of your hydro bill comes from heating and cooling your house.
Right.
Now, if you have a well-built house, I'm a little bit biased, that we've basically designed a total package, a total concept, you can have savings up to 90%. That is real green.
No, that's
and
great.
Yeah, that
has
hits your
a real,
pocketbook, what
and
really,
has-
I think, counts for most
but not
people.
only the individual pocketbook. Think of it as all of our hydro companies across Canada or the oil and gas are trying to promote to be more conscious about energy savings and put LED lighting in your houses and all of that. The biggest part of your energy bill comes from cooling and basically heating your house.
Yeah.
If we would tackle only that, we would have nationwide enough energy savings to undergo for the next generation. Just that. Just right there without going crazy on everything else.
And there's lots of programs out there. I mean, knowyourenergyscore.ca, that's one that's pushing for people to understand the workings of their home, take the time to have somebody come in and do an energy audit. And you can realize that there's some simple things that you can do to improve the efficiency of your home. Most people don't understand the caulking effect. I mean, most of these windows are just letting in air.
Yeah.
They're wondering why they feel a little cool when they're reading a book beside the window.
But that's happening more and more now, the energy audit, right?
So yeah.
And
So
you see
consumers are becoming more educated and
Yeah.
realizing I don't want to pay this much anymore for energy.
Yeah.
I got to do something. I got to finally get off the couch and actually do a little maintenance.
Yeah,
And let's come back and talk
exactly.
about that. We're going to take a short break
Okay.
and let's touch on that a little bit more. All right, everybody. So remember, if you have questions, reach out to realestatetalkshow.ca or call our help desk anytime at 844-ASK-RETS. That's 844-ASK-RETS. We'll be right back.